Hello, and welcome to your SkyJack safety training video. This video should be used with the SkyJack Program Administrator Guide and Student Handbook, which you should have received from the course administrator. This presentation has been designed to give operators a better understanding of safe operating practices for SkyJack aerial work platforms and give you more information about some of the hazards and dangers you need to avoid while using them. Should you have any questions or find that you don't fully understand any subject covered during this presentation, please discuss them with your instructor. Remember, more information on your specific model of SkyJack aerial work platform can always be found in the Complete Operation Parts and Maintenance Manual or the Compact Operating Manual, which is delivered with every machine. This video is divided into 4 sections. Section 1 deals with what SkyJack and various safety organizations consider a qualified operator. Section 2 deals with general instructions on how to use aerial lift equipment safely. Section 3 includes operating instructions for the specific type of SkyJack product covered in this training program. And finally, Section 4, which deals with battery charging procedures and maintenance. Let's get started with Section 1, Operator Qualifications. SkyJack's goal is to meet or exceed the safety standards required in markets where our products are sold and operated. In the United States, SkyJack must comply with American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, rules, Occupational Safety and Health Association regulations, and the Scaffold Industry Association Manual of Responsibilities. In Canada, SkyJack must comply with the Canadian Standards Association, or CSA, Regulation B354. In Europe, SkyJack equipment must meet the requirements for Communauté Européenne, or CE, approval. In addition to these standards, most employees are subject to specific national, regional, and workplace legislation. So please, check with your SkyJack dealer and appropriate safety organizations for information on your circumstances. In the U.S., manufacturers follow the guidelines established by ANSI and the SIA in their Manual of Responsibilities. These publications list the responsibilities of manufacturers, distributors, employers, operators, and users of aerial work platforms and are included with every machine SkyJack delivers in the U.S. and Canada. SkyJack and ANSI state that only trained and authorized persons should use work platforms. A qualified operator must understand the intended use and limitations of the equipment, understand the proper operating procedures and maintenance responsibilities, be familiar with the operating manual, understand all warnings and instructions listed in the manual and on the work platform, be familiar with their employer's work rules and related regulations, and most importantly, be able to demonstrate their ability to operate this specific model of platform in the presence of a qualified person. To accomplish this, a qualified operator must be free from the influence of drugs and alcohol, be aware of all rules and regulations regarding the equipment they are using, and be familiar with the operator manual for the specific model to be used. All this information is made available to operators of SkyJack work platforms in several forms. The operating manual should always be located in the compartment by the operator's station on the platform. The Complete Operating Parts and Maintenance Manual is shipped with every new SkyJack platform. Consult these guides when you require specific information for your model of aerial work platform. Once you've become familiar with the rules, regulations, and operating instructions of your model, it is time to discuss some of the hazards to avoid when operating any type of aerial work platform. Before beginning to use any aerial device, qualified operators identify hazards or dangers that may be present. This is usually done by performing a thorough site inspection before actually using the equipment. SkyJack aerial work platforms are not insulated. You must maintain a safe distance from live electrical apparatus and lines, and allow for rock, sway, or sag under the worst possible conditions. All SkyJack aerial work platforms have a minimum safe approach distance chart located near the operator control box. This chart is also found in the operating manual of every SkyJack product. Whenever working in areas where the exposure to live electrical apparatus exists, perform a survey of the expected work area and identify possible electrocution hazards. Where possible, position the work platform in a way that eliminates or minimizes risk of contact with these devices. Remember, working in the vicinity of live electrical devices is dangerous, and all precautions should be taken before setting up and operating the equipment. Other job site hazards that must be identified in the site survey are drop-offs, loading dock areas, debris, and holes that may affect the stability of your aerial work platform. Identify and mark off these hazards by inspecting the area in which the platform is to be driven while elevated. Remember, only use your work platform in areas free of hazards and on firm, level surfaces. Most models of SkyJack's SJ3 series work platforms come with pothole protection. This safety device reduces the ground clearance between the machine and the floor and reduces the possibility of tip-over should the platform be driven unexpectedly over a drop-off or hole. This device does not eliminate the requirement that your work platform be driven only on firm level surfaces. Once again, these potential hazards should be identified in a job site inspection prior to operating the equipment. Some hazards are easy to identify. As with all aerial work platforms, SkyJack equipment is designed, manufactured, and tested to be used on firm level surfaces. While SkyJack does offer four-wheel drive and rough terrain capability on some models, this is only for job site mobility in the retracted position. Remember, aerial work platforms are not designed or tested to be elevated on these types of surfaces. All SkyJack products have been designed and tested to operate on firm level ground. Most SJ3 series models are equipped with a tilt sensor that will not allow an operator to raise or drive a work platform should the slope exceed the maximum allowed by the tilt switch. In that case, operators can only lower the platform, reposition it, and then lift again on a level surface. As a qualified operator, you must not operate your SkyJack work platform on a slope or drive onto a slope while elevated. Failure to do this could result in serious injury or death. When driving your work platform, be aware that all SkyJack models are capable of stopping and holding their position on any grade they can climb. Before descending an incline, however, make sure you have not exceeded the maximum allowable grade your machine should be operating on. Even when using lift equipment on firm level ground, care must be taken to ensure that the surface under the aerial device is capable of supporting the total weight of the machine, including its rated load. Operation of a work platform while positioned on top of access covers, drains, trenches, or other unsupported surfaces is not allowed, unless approved by a site engineer. Industrial locations can be full of other mobile plant equipment that may be in operation. Collisions involving forklifts and overhead cranes can be prevented by using a little common sense. Make sure everyone is aware of your aerial lift device. Clearly marking off your work area and informing people working nearby may also increase your margin of safety and prevent an accident before it happens. Other common hazards are overhead obstacles. These could cause harm to the operator or damage the aerial device should it be lowered or raised into them. In many applications, poor lighting conditions hide potential dangers. Before operating in such areas, make sure they are adequately lit and all potential hazards identified. Remember, the highest point on an aerial work platform is usually the operator's head. Be alert to your direction of movement and always watch out for obstructions above and below the unit, and potential pinch points in areas not easily visible to the operator. If the platform is equipped with a slide-out deck extension, make sure that raising and lowering the platform can be accomplished without damage to the unit. When working or using tools against a structure, care should be taken to avoid putting excessive side load on the platform. Always position your work platform in a way that minimizes this risk, and never enter or exit the platform while elevated, as this also increases the side load. When operating your work platform outside, be aware that you should not raise the platform in windy or gusty conditions. Any object attached to the platform that increases its wind resistance also decreases its stability and could create a tip-over situation. Now that we have discussed what hazards to look for in your work area, let's discuss some of the operating procedures that also affect your margin of safety in an aerial work platform. The maximum operating capacity of each SkyJack platform can be found in several locations on each machine. The capacity of each SkyJack work platform is based on stability tests and various calculations required to meet safety standards in your area. What operators must understand, however, is that the rated capacity is based on the load being evenly distributed on the platform floor. The stability of the unit can be dramatically affected when occupants sit or stand on the railings, distribute the load unevenly, or use the work platform as a crane. Remember, serious injury or death can result from improper use of this equipment. When calculating your maximum capacity, be sure to include the weight of any material that you may be loading onto the platform at height. Overloading the platform, especially while elevated, could lead to a tip-over. An operator must be in control of the platform at all times. When raising, lowering, or driving the aerial work platform, an operator must be able to identify any hazards, obstructions, or personnel in the area of travel, including directly below the platform. At times, this may require the operator to move around the platform before operating the lift. Finally, there are areas where common sense dictates what we should and should not do on an aerial work platform. Wear protective clothing and use any personal safety devices required by job site conditions, regulations, or your employer. An operator should not use any SkyJack work platform that has ladders, scaffolding, or other devices mounted on the platform to increase work height, that does not have a clean, uncluttered, and safe working area, that does not appear to be working properly, has been damaged, appears to have worn or missing parts, appears to have modifications or alterations not approved by the manufacturer, or which has safety devices that have been altered or disabled. Finally, a qualified operator never attempts to enter or exit any work platform while elevated. Remember, failure to follow these instructions could result in death or serious injury. Be a safe operator. Now it's time to discuss the specific features of your platform. There are three major components to a SkyJack SJ3 series work platform: the base of the unit, the lifting mechanism, and the platform. Let's first talk about the components located at the base of your machine. As we move around the base, we see the integrated forklift pockets, the electric hydraulic tray, parking brake, emergency battery disconnect switch, freewheeling valve, battery tray, the pothole protection device, and finally, the steering and drive wheels. The electric hydraulic component drawer is opened using the two-position latch located here. Once the drawer is opened, you will find the following electrical panel components. The buzzer sounds when the machine is lowered and other optional equipment is activated. The hour meter records the operating time the pump and motor has run. The up-down toggle switch, which raises and lowers the platform. And finally, the 15-amp circuit breakers prevent damage to the unit in case of a power overload or positive circuit grounding. This red pull handle is the emergency lowering valve. When used with the holding valve manual override knob, it allows platform lowering in the event of total electrical system failure. It is important that all manual override knobs be released before pulling the red handle on the emergency lowering valve. Remember, the emergency lowering valve and the toggle switches located on the base of the machine will override the operator controls on the platform. They are only to be used in the case of emergency or to test machine operation with no one on the platform. Another important part of the base section of a SkyJack work platform is the pothole protection system. This safety device is found on all SJ3 series machines except for 6826 and 6832 models. This pothole protection system is located under the outside of both trays and reduces ground clearance of the platform when it is elevated. If this device is not fully lowered when the platform is elevated, the drive function will be disabled. Even when the pothole protection device is working, do not drive while elevated near holes, depressions, soft or uneven ground, or areas where electrical cords or debris is in the path of travel. As we continue around the base of the platform, we come to the steering and drive wheels. SJ3 conventionals are rear-wheel drive and front-wheel steer, while SJ3 compacts have front-wheel drive and steer. This allows the front wheels to turn at almost 90 degrees. Front-wheel drive and steer units are able to turn very sharply. Be aware that when the steering wheels are completely turned, the front of the work platform moves at 90 degrees to the right or left. Use caution before driving while elevated, especially where holes, drop-offs, or other potential hazards are immediately beside the work platform. Be aware of the direction the wheels will travel. Should there be a need to push or tow the work platform, the procedure is simple. First, make sure the platform is on a level surface and chock the wheels to prevent the platform from rolling. Next, find the freewheeling valve. It's located at the front of compact units and on the rear of conventional models. Turn the freewheeling valve counterclockwise to the fully open position. Locate the parking brakes for your machine. These spring-applied, hydraulically released brakes are found on each drive wheel and require a 3/4-inch wrench to release. Turn each lockout block 90 degrees so the brake pin is clear of the brake disc. Remove the wheel chocks, and you may now push or tow your platform. When towing, do not exceed 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers per hour. Be aware that you have released the brakes on the work platform, and great care should be taken when moving it. Once the machine has been repositioned, re-chock the wheels before re-engaging drive. To resume normal operation, simply close the freewheeling valve and engage drive. The parking brakes will reset automatically. The next basic component of the scissor lift is the lifting mechanism, which includes the lift cylinder or cylinders, depending on your model, and the scissor set. Remember, the safety bar must be used when inspecting or performing maintenance repairs within the scissor assembly with the platform raised. Failure to avoid this hazard could result in serious injury or death. The last basic component is the platform assembly, which includes the main platform, the extension platform, the guardrail system and entrance, and finally the operator's control console. Let's begin with the main platform. It's made of steel and is surrounded by a continuous 6-inch kick plate. The kick plate prevents tools, small objects, and debris from leaving the platform. You also will notice the safety belt attachment points, or D-rings, which are located on the platform floor. The GFI, or ground fault interrupt outlet, is also located on the main platform. This allows operators to connect to an AC outlet at ground level without an extension cord hanging from the platform. Now let's move to the extension platform. Your model of machine may be equipped with a manual or hydraulic version. The manual deck extension should be locked in place when not in use. To extend it, pull out the locking pins and firmly push it forward. When completely extended, you may reinsert the locking pin. Remember, the total capacity of a SkyJack scissor lift includes maximum capacities for the main platform and the extension deck. Be sure you do not exceed the capacity of the section of the platform you are working on. If in doubt, consult the capacity labels on the machine or your operating manual. One of the most important safety devices on a SkyJack scissor lift is the platform entrance and guardrail system. The purpose of these guardrails is to keep the occupants of the scissor lift within the safety of the platform. The solid top rail and entrance chain should be intact and properly attached before you operate the platform. Several models of SJ3 work platforms are equipped with a hinged guardrail system, which, when folded down, allow the work platform to pass through doorways and other low clearance areas. Before operating your work platform, check that all railings are upright, locked securely in place with locking pins, and there are no loose or missing pins. The last item we need to discuss on the platform is the operator's control console, located at the right front corner of the main platform. This metal box contains all platform operating controls, including the on-off key switch, the lift drive select switch, the proportional joystick controller, steering rocker switch, emergency stop button, and operator horn. Most models also have a torque select toggle switch. Every control box also has a quick disconnect plug located along the wiring harness just below the control box. These plugs are color-coded to prevent operators from using older style control boxes on proportional controller machines. This connector allows removal of the control box in areas where unauthorized use is a problem, or weather conditions may affect its operation. To reattach the control box, make sure the control plug is free of debris and moisture, connect the plug, and attach the control box to the railings with the locking pin. We have now reviewed the basic components of your work platform. If there are still areas you don't completely understand, ask your program administrator about them now, or check your manual. If there are no further questions, we'll now spend a few minutes explaining machine operation, including pre-start, operation, and shutdown procedures. Let's begin with the setup procedures. This is what we need to do when the equipment used is being put into service for the first time or has been unloaded after transport. When your machine is first delivered, you should immediately remove all packing materials and check for damage or foreign objects which the machine may have picked up in transport. Make sure that all railings are completely secured, the control box attached, and the manual storage box contains all the necessary documentation. Next, swing out the hydraulic electric component tray. Check the hydraulic fluid level with the scissors fully lowered and inspect the area for any leaks or damage. If hydraulic fluid is needed, complete specifications are listed in your manual. Remember to completely close the drawer before you move to the battery tray. Check the water level in the batteries. If plates are not completely covered, add distilled or demineralized water. Always charge the batteries in a well-ventilated area. For more information, consult your operating manual and watch Battery Service and Charging Procedures in Section 4 of this video. Once the machine is fully charged, verify that the emergency disconnect switch is on. Open the electric hydraulic drawer and use the toggle switch to raise the platform. Raise the platform high enough to rotate the safety bar, then lower the scissor until the safety bar rests on the lowest scissor assembly crossmember brace tube. With the safety bar firmly in place, check the base and scissor structure for leaks, damage, and foreign objects. Make sure the tilt alarm is free of debris. Continue to raise the platform to full height and return the safety bar to the stored position. While the machine is elevated, inspect hydraulic, electric, and mechanical components that may have suffered damage. These include hoses, fittings, cables, limit switches, connectors, pins, and bushings. Once these checks are completed and you haven't found any damage, it's time to lower the platform and proceed to the final step, the operation of your work platform. But before you do, let's just take a moment to review some of the key points we've covered so far. Are only qualified operators using this equipment? Have all job site hazards been identified? Are we using proper operating procedures? Are the batteries charged? Once you have answered yes to these questions, we can begin with our operator checklist. SkyJack recommends that each day, or at the beginning of each shift, you inspect or test the following: all operating controls, including all lift, drive, and steer functions from the platform, all ground controls, and all emergency controls, including the emergency stop buttons, freewheeling valve, parking brake release, and the emergency lowering valve, including the override knob access rod. Safety devices, including tilt alarms, limit switches, warning buzzers, and operator horn. Personal safety devices, which may include hard hats, protective clothing, eye protection, body harness, safety belts, and lanyards. Tires and wheels. Outriggers if equipped. Inspect hydraulic, air, and in some cases fuel systems for leaks. SkyJack's checklist also includes inspecting for loose or missing parts. Cables, wiring harness, and GFI outlets. Placards, warnings, control markings, and manuals. Guardrail system including locking pins, and finally, battery fluid levels. This list may seem long. In reality, it takes only a few minutes to perform this inspection at the beginning of each shift. Now that we have completed our checklist, let's get into the platform and work the controls. SkyJack uses a buttonhole material which helps minimize slip on the ladder entrance to the platform, but sometimes conditions make stepping up difficult. SkyJack recommends workers use 3-point contact when entering the platform. This requires the operator to maintain 3 contact points at all times when entering the unit and reduces the risk of slipping. Once safely in the platform, attach the entry chain and move to the operator's control console. Make sure the emergency stop button is pulled out and turn the key to the on position. The state of charge indicator will now show there is power at the control box. Remember, the master battery disconnect switch must be in the on position or there will be no power at the platform. To raise the platform, select the lift position on the lift drive select switch. Lift the controller lock ring, then gently push the controller handle forward. The lift function is proportional, which means the position of the handle will affect the lift speed of your platform. To lower the platform, again select the lift position on the lift drive select switch, lift the controller lock ring, then gently pull the controller handle backward. The lower function is not proportional, so the position of the handle will not affect the speed of your descent. To drive your work platform forward, locate the lift-off drive selector switch and move it to the drive position. Lift the controller lock ring and gently push the controller forward. This drive function is proportional, so the position of the joystick will affect your speed. To drive your work platform backward, locate the lift-off drive selector switch and move it to the drive position. Lift the controller lock ring and gently pull the controller backward. Again, this drive function is proportional, so the position of the joystick will affect your speed. As a safety precaution, drive speed is restricted when the platform is elevated. To steer your work platform, simply press the rocker switch on top of the controller handle in the direction you wish to steer. This control is not proportional. SJ3 series compact models have 90-degree steer, which can create sharp steering angles. Make sure you are aware of the direction your steering wheels are in before driving the platform, especially when working near drop-offs or other potential hazards. Although SJ3 series platforms are drivable at full height, an operator must be aware of any obstacles, drop-offs, or other hazards in the area and the travel path of the elevated platform. Holes, debris, and dangerous areas are difficult to assess from the platform at working height. If you are unsure of worksite conditions or feel that there are hazards in the area you intend to travel in, lower the platform before moving your scissor lift. Once we have completed our operation of the unit, it is time to follow our shutdown procedure. Lower the platform fully, turn the key switch to the off position, remove the key, and push in the emergency stop button. And finally, rotate the emergency battery disconnect switch to the off position. To prevent unauthorized use of your work platform, you may also padlock the switch. We have now covered what qualifications you need to operate a SkyJack aerial work platform, some of the dangers you need to avoid while using lift equipment, and specific information on the SJ3 series models. Remember, if you have any questions or are unclear about any of the topics we have covered, ask your program administrator or consult the operating manual you received today. This section of our video deals with maintenance of batteries, charging procedures, and the maintenance responsibilities of operators. We will start with some of the dangers of batteries and chargers. Batteries contain electrolytic acid, which may produce flammable gas. Keep flames and sparks away from batteries and do not smoke near them. Electrolytic acid can cause skin irritation and damage clothing. When working with batteries, wear protective clothing, gloves, and goggles. If acid is splattered into your eyes, flush immediately with cold water and seek medical attention if discomfort continues. To service the batteries in your work platform, first turn the emergency battery disconnect switch to the off position. Open the battery tray and check the individual battery fluid levels. If the electrolytic solution does not reach the full mark in each battery cell, add distilled or demineralized water. Check the battery cases for damage and make sure that the terminals and connections are clean and tight. Be sure to immediately replace any battery that is damaged or incapable of holding a charge. There are dangers you must be aware of when charging your work platform. Battery chargers can ignite flammable materials and vapors. Do not use the charger near fuels, grain dust, solvents, or other flammables. To reduce the risk of electrical shock, connect only to a properly grounded single-phase outlet and do not use an extension cord longer than 25 feet. Connect the charger AC plug to the proper voltage source and charge the batteries. Do not leave the charger unattended for more than 2 consecutive days. Severe overcharging and battery damage could result if the charger fails to turn off. Your work platform will be equipped with one of the following chargers. Both types are automatic. They will shut off when the batteries have reached a full charge. When plugged in, the BICAN charger will start immediately and the red in progress LED will come on. The ammeter will show the charging current, which should remain high for about 30 minutes. If after 30 minutes the charge has not tapered off, or if the yellow check battery light is on, disconnect the charger and check the battery fluid levels. The normal charging cycle will be 6 to 10 hours, and when the batteries are fully charged, the green complete light will come on. When the motor appliance charger is plugged in, all the LEDs will flash several times and then flash independently to check light circuits. Then the incomplete light will turn on. 5 seconds later, both the charger on light and the ammeter will also come on. The ammeter will indicate how much current is going to the batteries. The charger may continue to operate up to 16 hours depending on the state of the batteries. When the batteries are almost charged, the incomplete light will shut off and the 80% charge light will go on. When the batteries are fully charged, the 80% charge light will shut off and the charge complete light goes on. This indicates that the batteries are healthy and the machine fully charged and ready for operation. If the 80% charge light stays on after the charge cycle is complete, it indicates that the batteries are not capable of attaining a full charge. If the incomplete light stays on after a charge cycle, it indicates that the batteries are not capable of attaining even an 80% charge. Should either of these lights remain on after the charge cycle is complete, the batteries should be inspected for problems. The last topic we want to discuss with you today is the operator's responsibility for maintenance. Serious injury or death can be the result of not keeping your scissor lift in good working order. Only competent personnel who are familiar with mechanical procedures should perform inspection and maintenance. Even if you, the operator, are not responsible for actually performing the maintenance, you are responsible for ensuring that your work platform is in working condition. You must perform the daily inspections and maintenance checks listed in the operating manual, and replace all worn or damaged parts and labels. You will find the maintenance and inspection schedule in both your operating manual as well as the complete operating maintenance and parts manual. You have now completed the video portion of this training course. You will now review the questions and answers in your student handbook with the program administrator and discuss any items you may still have questions about. The final part of this course is hands-on, where you will be asked to demonstrate your ability and knowledge of a SkyJack work platform to the program administrator. When that is complete, you're done. We hope you have enjoyed the SkyJack safety presentation and continue to use the information we've provided for you. Remember to stay alert, check your equipment, and most importantly, work safely.